Welcome. Thank you for coming to our project. My name is Daniel.
My name is Jacob.
My name is Teresa.
We've been working on this project for a very long time. It took us a lot of research before we can find information about the driving question. The driving question is how can we help solve the problem of the southern cricket frog? The population is declining, and we did a lot of research before we can find the answer. I was talking about characteristics and adaptations. In case you didn't know what those are, characteristics are a physical feature that an animal has that makes it different from all the other animals. And an adaptation is a physical feature that an animal has to help it survive in its ecosystem. Now I'll be passing it on to Jacob.
Our group needed to know what habitat and ecosystem meant in order to do our project. Habitat means the home or place where an animal lives. For example, a bear's habitat is a cave because that's where the bear lives. Ecosystem means an area where other animals live together and interact with each other. So a habitat is in an ecosystem, and ecosystems are made up of habitats. So explain diet and life.
For diet and life, diet means what an animal eats. Some animals eat different things like carnivores and omnivores. A carnivore is an animal that eats meat. An omnivore is an animal that eats both meat and plants. So we also learned about the food chain. A food chain is when an animal eats a plant and it gets energy from it and it passes it on. But if the food chain breaks, then bad things happen, like if an animal dies, then other animals start dying and the food chain breaks.
Now we're talking about the problem. The problem is that people keep destroying the southern cricket frogs' homes, so they have to move where the northern cricket frogs are. The northern cricket frogs are about an inch bigger than the southern cricket frog, so they get to the food faster than the southern cricket frog does. And the northern cricket frogs are getting more food than the southern cricket frog does, so they start dying. So we had to go online for a very long time to try to find out what the problem is. Now Jacob will be talking about the solution.
First of all, the southern cricket frog's habitat is usually in ditches, ponds, or swamps. Its ecosystem is the dismal swamp where other animals live with the southern cricket frog. The habitat, swamps, ponds, and ditches are in the ecosystem of the dismal swamp. Now, so you still explain that.
The southern cricket frog mainly eats mosquitoes, but it also eats other bugs too. For life, we found out that when the frog is a tadpole, it's a herbivore because it can't digest all the insects. But when it's older, it's an insectivore, which is an animal that eats insects. We also found out that when it's a tadpole, it has a tiny black tip at the end of its tail.
Alright, the solution for the problem of the southern cricket frog is we're thinking about making a new habitat to transfer all the southern cricket frogs back into the new one, so we'd be preserving them so no one's allowed to hurt them and touch them until their numbers rise. Thank you for coming. Any questions?
Well, tell us about your lovely poster back here. That's a nice poster you guys worked on.
They can jump 60 times their height per feet, so if they're like that big, they'd be able to jump like, all the way up to there. And they use it to jump away from predators.
And they have very big back legs to jump away from predators or get to food.
Okay.
They have, the way you can tell the difference between the southern cricket frog and the northern cricket frog is the different patterns. So the southern cricket frog has a wide, bright color, and it has a triangle on its forehead.
Okay. Is that a northern cricket on the right, or is that a southern? That's
a
a southern.
southern.
Oh, I
You
can
see
see
the
the
Y?
Y. Yep, I sure can.
It's kind of like camouflage,
Okay.
and it's kind of blended in.
Yes, he is camouflaged. Okay.
Who here thinks that they have all webbed feet?
That they have all webbed feet?
Yeah.
I would think so.
Their back feet are webbed, but their front feet have just a little bit of web.
Oh, okay.
You can see the web right there, and then you can see just like
So partial webbing. Okay. Wow. Now what's over there to the right, Teresa?
It's a tadpole.
Okay. And he's in, oh, and you said that he's an herbivore at that stage.
Yep.
Very cool. Awesome. So I like the idea of the habitat, the controlled habitat that you guys are putting in while they rise their numbers.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. They actually do that in the population sometimes with endangered species and things like that. Did you guys work on that all together, that idea? You guys all, is that unanimous as far as your solution?
agreed on what
Agreed
we're-
on that?
Ms. Rowland, did you have a question?
Did you guys learn anything about special adaptations that the southern cricket frogs have?
Yeah. They have, they're right here when she said if it was a northern cricket frog, where their ecosystem is, they have different shaded colors. Like if it was in like a leafy place, it would have like an orange or.
And now they
Oh,
have
yeah,
tat
his
with a red.
color's mimicking the leaf a little bit there with the orange. See, I think it came up like a little or something. Interesting.
The web feet would also help them. The back ones help them swim faster, but they can't climb really good. Like they don't climb
Okay.
because they have just